I can read music. What I would really like to do is start a series on reading music. So reading music notation, understanding the language, behind the music notation. The reason why I really like this book is because it breaks music reading up into the two basic elements. So when you're dealing with music, you're basically talking about pitch, which is, if you're a math whiz, it's the y-axis, right? So thinking, highs and lows. And then the other aspect of music is time. So that would be the rhythm. So we have like long durations, we have short durations, and that's sort of the x-axis. So we're kind of plotting time on a horizontal perspective. So basically, if you combine the pitch, highs and lows, and then the time aspect, then we have music, and that's all it is. So I love this book. I've done a review on this book. If you haven't seen it, I will link it above and below for you. And basically, I'm going to now take you step by step, basically showing you how I use this book in the lesson. Now, if you're not a violinist, I still welcome you. I'm glad you stopped by, and this is still actually relevant for you. So just think about, what is your main instrument? So if you are interested in, playing the piano or the saxophone or the clarinet or drums, whatever it is, then you just choose the I Can Read Music book that is relevant to you. So this book comes in the violin, for the violinist. It also is available for the cellist, for the violist. There may be a string bass, a double bass version. I have to look into that for you. So I'll try to put that information below. So if you're basically, it just goes by clef. So if you open this up, since violinists, we play higher notes, we use the G clef. It's also known as the treble clef. If you also want to learn the lower notes, so where you're looking at the F clef, it's also called bass clef, then go ahead and, maybe you can invest in one of the cello version, because the cello has the F clef. That's what it primarily uses. Cello uses actually other clefs, more than one clef, but that's where kind of we're starting from. So if you're a pianist, I would probably use a slightly different approach, but this approach is still going to work for you. So if you like it, stop by, and I'm going to try to have a complete series on this book at least. This book will take you through many of the most popular, more common rhythms that you will see as you're playing music, okay? For today, we're going to cover the rhythm aspect, and then I will also have a series for the pitch side of the book. Rhythm lesson 1. In this lesson, basically we're just learning about quarter notes and half notes. Okay, so I'm just going to start from the very beginning, and if you already know some of this, I apologize, but being on YouTube, it's a special circumstance because the viewer has to be the one to choose the video that is more relevant to yourself. So I wish I knew who I was talking to. I'm sure I'm talking to a vast, range of skill levels right now. And so I'll just be really thorough, and hopefully you can kind of, catch what you need to catch. If there's any gaps in your background as well, hopefully we can fill in those gaps as we go along. So the main thing to understand about the rhythmic system is to know that there are different parts of the note, okay? So we're not talking about where the note actually sits on the staff. That's going to be the pitch side, right? We're talking about the way the note looks. So the parts of the note are the note head and then the stem. And then sometimes there's something additional like the flag or the beam. Okay, so I will insert some examples of that coming up here soon, so you can see that close up. But on this page for rhythm 1, there's only two types of notes. There's a note that has the filled in head, so that's like the black note head, and then there's a note that has the hollow head, so it looks like a white note head, but they both have stems, so they look very alike. So the concept is the dark one is the quarter note, and the one with the open hole, open head, is the half note. So that is the actual name of the rhythm. It's very misleading because you think quarter and you think about a quarter, right? So it's really not, it's actually one beat, okay? It does mean a quarter in a certain regard, but you have to kind of go way back into music history for that, when they used to use like longer note values, like in the Renaissance period, for example. So we have to go way, way, way back centuries, and today I don't want to go into that. So if you're interested, just send me a message or a comment, and then we can, I can explain that way if you're interested. But basically the quarter note is going to get one beat. So out of all of the rhythms that you're going to see, the most fundamental rhythm is this note. It's the quarter note, gets one beat. So just remember that it has a dark note head. It's all filled in black with one stem, right? The half note is equal to 2 beats, okay? So this is going to be twice as long as this one. So what I do, here's the trick. My system that I used, I picked up, it's kind of based on, I believe, it goes back to the Suzuki method and possibly music mind games. I'm going to have to look into that, but that's sort of a little system that Michiko Yuriko used, and so there's a whole book on it, and there's like a game board and things like that. So I used to actually teach that way back when I was much younger, and I was teaching in the university as a student. And so that was a lot of fun because kids really enjoy that. But this system sort of comes from there, and then I may have made a few adaptations. So I think it has some Suzuki roots, basically. So the word I use a silly word system. I just call them silly words. So for the 1 beat note, I say blue, and then for the 2 beat note, I say two. All right. So we're gonna put a pulse in there so that the student really feels that it's for 2, pulses, full value, 2, right? So in this example, the first one's super easy, so we're just gonna go to line 2, okay? So line 2, it goes like this. We're gonna find our steady beat, right? And then we're gonna go blue, blue, 2, blue, blue, 2, blue, blue, 2, 2, and then we're done. All right, so we do one line, and then we think about it, and if we should probably do it again, so we should practice that twice. If it's tricky, then you do it again, 3rd time, 4th time, 5th time. But I think if it's pretty simple, just do it once or twice, and then move on to the next line. So the point is that we're just kind of, sitting down, we're just looking at the notes, and we're just saying them with our words, with our mouth. When I teach my violin students rhythms and pitches, they do it away from their instrument. I make a few exceptions to that. So again, I always find this format daunting because, if I met you, I may suggest something else for you. Okay, so I'm very, very into individuality. I like to tailor, the lesson according to the person's, I guess, strengths and weaknesses, their inclinations. So I really get to know my private students very well, and I adapt, the lesson for their needs. So, for example, here's when I might make an exception. Is when I have a student come to me and they've already had years of experience doing something else at a high level. For example, piano. I get a lot of new violin students who have already been playing the piano for a long time, and they already know these rhythms, okay? So I may use a slightly different system with them, but no matter what happens and no matter how good they are, there's always gonna be a rhythm that's a little bit new or challenging for somebody. And in that case, you just put your instrument down and you say it. That's what really, really works here. All right, so when they're really, really young, or you're absolutely brand new to reading music, I really welcome you here if you've never learned to read music and you really want to. I've met many adults actually who are in that category. They always wanted to play music. Maybe they're playing instinctively, like they are natural. They kind of can pick out melodies on their instrument, but they never really learned how to actually read the notation. Well, I really think this method is foolproof. All right, test me on it. So if you can do these little steps that I'm showing you, then you're gonna be reading music in no time. All right. Granted, yes, I do think that certain people are more inclined, right, to learning rhythm quickly, and some people are less inclined. But everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, and often it's funny that sometimes I get a very talented, like almost prodigious, student, and then they have a little bit of an Achilles tendon, and it's rhythm. All right, so everyone's different. So I hope that this method may help you out. I think it's fun. I think it's super easy, and this book just shows you, step by step. Okay, so basically, especially my young students, they love this. They'll actually take this book and curl up and actually just get cozy, and they just love it so much they'll just sit there and do it for a long time. All right, they just really enjoy it. So just go through. If you have this book, wonderful. If not, consider getting it, or look at some other options, and then if you feel like this might work for you, I would say try getting it, because it's just a really great book. And then you just say every single line. Okay, so I'll just give an example, one more. We'll do line 3 together. Okay, so that's gonna go like this. Here's our beat. Pick a speed that's not too fast, not too slow. Okay, two, blue, 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 two, blue, blue, two, blue, blue. So now, if you go to lesson 2, they changed the time signature. If you're familiar with that, fine. If not, I'll explain later. All right, which is really nice. But if you see, the blues and the 2 who's are still there. Okay, which reminds me, if you don't like 2 who, I have a couple kids who love owls, and so we say 2 who, 2 who, and it's really cute. 2 who is actually a little easier because you can keep your voice going, to who, instead of to oo or to oo. Sometimes it gets choppy, to oo, and I would caution against doing it that way. So try to keep your voice going to oo with a little bump, or use the owl method, to who, to who. Lesson 3, same old, same things. Okay, but we have a 4/4 meter. Lesson 4 is the same thing. So see how we're just getting a lot of practice, and now we have 5/4 meter, which is a regular meter. So if there are any teachers out there, it's fantastic, okay? And then final lesson 5, they introduce rests. So the concept of a rest, meaning that for a certain amount of time, we're going to be doing nothing, all right? So we want to have a silence. So we'll save that a lesson for next time, okay?